Welcome to the Glam Hive Summer Bazaar. This is a summit that we've all been wildly anticipating. Unfortunately, we did have some tech issues over the weekend, but we're so happy to be here today with the one and only Michaela Erlinger and Mark Badgley and James Mishka of the namesake wonderful fashion brand Badgley Mishka. And so let's talk about, first and foremost, how do you know each other? I need to know how this room has gotten together today.
Oh God,
Michaela, do you Oh,
We go way back.
right, we go way back. We've been working with Michaela on a lot of celebrities we've been working on together, making them look fabulous and beautiful. And Michaela styled our fashion shows for years. So she's we can't say enough good things about her.
Yeah, she's an arbiter of high style and fashion. We've watched her grow up in the industry when she was an assistant to the superstar stylist. And then, of course, today she is one herself.
Superstar. So.
Thanks, guys. Yes, I have had the honor and pleasure of collaborating with Mark and James over the years on everything from the runway to the red carpet and beyond. So this is such a treat.
It's such a treat for me as well. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Esther Lee, senior editor at The Knot, and we are here today for the bridal panel. So this is a bridal masterclass where we will be talking about all things that are related to weddings, and we really need to talk about the elephant in the room first because we are doing this digitally. Normally, this would be done in person. So let's talk about COVID-19 and its impact on the wedding industry and how exactly it's impacted the businesses across the board. And so, Michaela, do you want to kick it off first?
Sure. I mean, I can speak about this firsthand because I am a bride-to-be. And, being a bride navigating this pandemic, my heart goes out to the couples who have been impacted. It's a challenging time for everybody, but to be planning, a milestone life event in the midst of this is quite unique. Especially when it comes to what to wear. And so having expanded my business last year to include bridal styling services for brides-to-be, this has been just top of mind. And it's been a really interesting time to see how supportive and wonderful the brands have been in helping clients and helping brides find their dream dress. So yeah, been interesting.
What's really interesting is that we have stats at The Knot that over 1 million couples have been impacted now at this point by coronavirus and having their weddings postponed. And meanwhile, 93% of those couples are actually moving forward with the wedding at some point down the line. Mark and James, what kind of advice can you give them when it comes to the accessorizing and the styling that they should be considering with their wedding gowns?
I think that, for us, bridal's always been about making it timeless and not of the moment, but you want to be able to look at those pictures 20 years from now and not thinking, oh, that was the summer of black watch bands and black headbands for bridal. You want to make it very timeless, and I think that's important, is that you choose accessories, and the whole styling of the wedding should be very timeless and just classic and beautiful is the most important thing to us, and that will work for you this year, last year, 2 years from now, whenever you end up getting married. That's what you should really look for.
At the same time, though, I think the bride should make a statement. I think there should be a taste of her personal style in her assortment.
Yeah, not cookie cutter, definitely personal.
Yeah, and again, I totally agree with James. She'll be looking at those pictures for the rest of her life, and you don't want to cringe and sort of push that portrait to the back of the top of the piano. You want it, right up there, center front. And so we love a bride that goes for it, but we do love sort of a timeless beauty. I think a woman's wardrobe has become so industrial today because of practicality reasons.
Well, especially right now when you're just...
Especially right now.
When you're just at home.
And so we love a bride that, of course it's every bride's, I think, quest today, a modern bride to stay modern. But when it harks back to a time that there's a little bit of an old school, old world glamour to it, is that sort of perfect combination that we love.
Speaking of old school, old world glamour and timelessness, you actually have a coffee table book that you have just come out with. I would love to see it and hear more about what it is.
We do. We did this.
Voila.
Voila.
Ooh,
Beautiful.
We did this book. It was just our sketches, fashion sketches with a nod to Corona. We were doing them in our spare time, posted them on our personal Instagrams, got this great reaction, and then wound up auctioning and doing this book. Proceeds went to Feeding America. We did over 200,000 meals, if you could believe that, from the proceeds of this auction. But it's been a really fun project. There's even a picture in there that's a nod to the bride that has to postpone her wedding.
Oh, yeah.
oh, I love that. That's me.
That is you, Michaela.
Thank you.
You know, I actually really agree with what you were saying, though, about the whole timelessness and the classicness of a bride. Up there she is.
Wow, beautiful.
I love it.
So that was a great experience doing the auction for Feeding America, and then people kept wanting to buy the sketches. They couldn't buy them at auction, so we put together a book and had it published, limited edition of 100 of them. So they're not easy to get, but they are on our website. So if you wanted one, that's where they are.
Oh my
That's
God.
Thanks for filling in there for a minute as we were thumbing for the picture,
Yeah.
Michaela.
I just should have had it queued up.
We do. That is something that we love about Michaela's style, is that we are sort of simpatico with that point of view, especially when it comes to that refined, gorgeous bride, as you were saying.
Yes.
Yeah,
Especially now more than ever with the pandemic, I think, too. I think at least from the clients that I've been working with and speaking to just evening wear in general, I think that sensibility is coming through now more than ever. So you think of trends and what's to come, I think we will see sort of a renaissance to that more classic elegance, if you will.
That's a beautiful way to put it, Michaela. Shifting gears a bit, so all three of you have seen red carpets in preparation, along with wedding day preparation. Mark and James, you have actually dressed some brides, some of the biggest high-profile brides on their wedding days as well as you, Michaela. Recently, you did a sustainable wedding too. We saw that, and so let's talk about the differences between. And the parallels and the similarities between preparing a bride on her wedding day as to preparing a client or a celebrity for the red carpet. Talk to me about it.
I think the process is so similar.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, for a bride, that is her Oscar day. Do you know what I mean? So
Truly, it's the closest thing to walking on the red carpet. It's that aisle.
The only difference is that she knows she's going to win the Oscar that day.
that's true. But the process feels very similar. I mean, it's almost a carbon footprint of the same process, and the same emotion, the same nerves, the same end product, end results, hopefully, that parallel each other.
Definitely. And also the fact, like, these are both live events, right? And you're going to be photographed, and the pressure is on, and the stakes are high, and the emotion and adrenaline is palpable. But exactly, at the end of the day, you're going to win the Oscar. I love that. It's great.
Guy.
Yeah, and also now, like, there's more than one dress. It's the equivalent of a celebrity promoting a press tour. This is like a wedding weekend. I mean, even in planning my own wedding, I'm looking at multiple dresses, from the rehearsal dinner to the bon voyage brunch. And let us not forget the other events that lead up to your wedding too, such as your bridal shower or your bachelorette, and also everything after, the honeymoon. So when all is said and done, it's multiple looks, which is the equivalent of a movie star's press tour with her monumental red carpet moment. So I agree.
It's a wardrobe, for sure.
That is certainly one way to put it. We've seen the rise of weekend weddings, and lately, because of everything that's happened, 2021 is actually going to be a huge year for weddings. We at the Knot are dubbing it as the year of weddings because so many couples have postponed to a later date. Would love to hear some tips and some advice for those who are going to have, untraditional, atypical wedding days too. There are some who are getting married on a Sunday, so they're going to have a casual brunch wedding now rather than the formal Saturday occasion. what sort of style pivots could they be taking, or style tips could they be taking in order to be, you know, unique but also refreshing in a way that fits it, that fits the new event formatting that we're going to see? Michaela, want to go first?
Sure. I think, you know, I think getting married on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday is not going to be taboo anymore. There are going to be so many weddings, like you said, over 1 million weddings postponed. There are simply not enough weekends to accommodate all of these, you know, celebrations.
Yes, yeah.
And I think that's amazing. And I think we're going to see wedding wardrobes evolve too. And I think that this idea that you have to be in white might also be something that goes out the window. Maybe you're wearing a print, or maybe you're wearing a pretty pastel, or something from an evening wear collection, not necessarily a bridal collection, because of course timelines for production have also been impacted by this. So I think we will see modern day brides still honing in on that classic timeless elegance that we spoke about. Bridal is inherently you know, timeless in that sense. But I think maybe a new approach. And I also think this idea of like sustainability and investing in things that you can wear again, whether it's separates or again, a print or a color instead of something white, might be something that we see. But I'm curious what Mark and James have to say, since they're the ones designing all of this.
I do agree. I think there's going to be a big blur with the traditional bridal rules, you know what I mean? And I mean, James and I always embrace change. We love change. I mean, I personally would love to be invited to a Monday wedding. I think that would be a hoot.
And as long as it's not after a Sunday wedding.
Yeah, exactly. We're finding, you know, a lot of our brides, a lot of them still want to get married right now. So they are getting married right now, this minute, in their dress, for a very, very small get together, maybe just family, just two.
And sometimes it is virtual. I mean, sometimes they get married at
Yeah.
City Hall and they have a Zoom meeting with their family to show them.
But my point is that they're doing the party next year. So,
and that's the big blowout.
They're sort of going, you know, to their traditional party, their traditional wedding right now, looking like Grace Kelly. But I think a year from now, when they go to their party, they're just going to be decked out in something fabulous and exciting, maybe very runway inspired, which makes it really fun. And you can make two completely different statements.
That's the beauty of it. I've realized, you know, there's the mini-moni, the couples are having the mini ceremony or whatever it is first. And yes, they're going to have that Grace Kelly moment. And then suddenly they're going to pivot and it's going to be something outrageous. And they're allowed to do that. Anything goes in the time of Corona when it comes to these weddings, and couples are encouraged. You especially, Michaela, I can't wait to see what you do with your wedding.
We're working on
it. We did again, what you said about separates. I do think separates are important, and they're great for destination weddings. They're so packable. We recently did this beautiful cream parchment colored cashmere little sweater that was festooned with pearls and bows. And then she just wore it over this big, breezy chiffon palazzo pant. It kind of looked
that.
Down,
that was
but it took her to the islands. It took her on the beach. It was a great alternative. You know what I mean? It had the importance of a gown, but it was really just these luxurious little separates.
And my brother got married last October, and his fiance, now his wife, wore a beautiful, very encrusted crystal corset, extremely encrusted with crystals, and a lavender Mikado skirt, you know, fishtail ball gown skirt, which was fantastic.
It's always funny
and she's worn the corset several times since then, which is great because it is sustainable, like you said. You can wear
it with blue jeans, like fabulous.
She does.
She does. And the lilac, you know, she was inspired by orchids. She wanted lilac orchids, and so when we were picking the skirt color, the lilac skirt and this silk wool Mikado just looked so pretty. So it was just that little hint of color that just made the whole outfit.
Wow. If only all brides were so lucky to have your direction and a resource like you. But luckily you do have us at the moment with us here right now. So the next topic is actually, I want to talk this really quickly about this one topic, which is about if a million weddings are impacted, then sure enough, hundreds of millions of guests have also been impacted by the coronavirus. And
Yeah.
so some, have gowns that people actually do purchase dresses in advance for occasions, but if they're rescheduled till next year or it's in a new season, what should they be doing? Should they be purchasing even more, or should they be recycling gowns? Like, how can they re-accessorize or make it a completely different look now that all of this is happening? Because of course the guests need your direction too.
I love it. I actually had a bride who wanted me to provide a mood board to her guests on what to wear once. Yeah, so that the whole wedding party, guests included, fit sort of the theme and the aesthetic. The photos were amazing. But I actually think the same rule applies to brides as it does, for me at least, to guests. I really think you can transform a look through your accessories. If you have a strapless dress, consider a opera length glove, or to make it more wintry if it was supposed to be in summer before, or layer a bodysuit underneath something. Consider alterations, consider making a closed back open, consider adding straps or sleeves if you have that kind of flexibility. And also look at the other collections, look at the collections, the evening wear collections that are currently available. And that's what you should be working with. I don't know what Mark and James, you are the experts on all things evening wear, so I leave it to you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to be, they may have already purchased the dresses they're going to wear to a wedding. They were going to wear this summer, this spring to a wedding, or this fall that now gets postponed till next year. I think people have kind of just taken a pause in their purchasing right now in terms of because you're not going to go to the event right now, but you've already bought it. It'll still be, if it's a great dress, it'll still be valid next year. There's no point in not wearing the dress because it was from last year. I think that people are going to be wearing things, recycling things a lot, shopping in their closets a lot. Like you said, it's going to be twice as many weddings next year as would ordinarily happen, because all the ones from this year are now next year, plus the ones that would ordinarily be next year are also next year still. So it's literally twice as many weddings.
I do think that a bride is really complimented when her guests really go for it.
Yeah, they make an effort, for sure.
I think it's so fun. Of course, the big moment is seeing the bride walk down the aisle, but I love sitting in a chapel, cathedral, or on a beach, whatever, and watch people file in and just watch women walk in just dressed beautifully. I think it's a huge compliment to the bride and to the groom. And where else are you really going to see women dress lavishly these days? You know what I mean? A wedding is probably where the majority of special occasion kind of clothing is really bought for. And I think a guest of a wedding should go for it. She should be thrilled that she's invited. She should, rejoice in the fact that she's going to this huge, important, momentous occasion for these dear friends of her, and she should look her best. So, and then that doesn't mean that, I love when a dress is lavish and gorgeous, but perhaps right now the dress is super, super simple, if that's her personal taste. Maybe she wears a statement, gorgeous, colorful chandelier earring, which is always so beautiful. Right now, of course, a woman can make an amazing statement through her mask, which I could see a lot of creative people, working that way, whether they're laced or jeweled or colored. There's so many different ways to make an effort, you know what I mean? And I think that's really what makes a wedding the most fun.
I love that. I agree. It really is. And I think people are going to want to get dressed up. We've all been in, our work from home looks, if you will. Yeah. And I think people are going to feel, this is an opportunity to really to get decked to the nines, and to celebrate. So I'm excited for the weddings that are to come.
We are so thrilled about the celebrations to come as well. And Michaela, speaking of which, you have a bridal styling business that I wanted to elaborate a little bit further on. Talk to us about what exactly that entails and what kind of services that you're providing now, because so many brides are turning to you. They're like, we need to talk to her. She's Meryl Streep's stylist.
So I actually expanded my celebrity styling business last year to include luxury bridal services. mainly because I saw that there was an opportunity and white space in the market to provide guidance and expertise to women who are getting ready for the most important moment in their lives. And like we said before, there are so many similarities and parallels to, you know, getting a movie star ready for the red carpet and getting a bride ready for walking down the aisle. And so I realized that there was an opportunity for me to provide my expertise to couples. So, you know, whether it's dressing the bride or the groom or the bridal parties, mother of the bride, providing mood boards for guests, it really is about coming in and curating from a high level perspective in conjunction with the planning team and event designers to make sure that everything fits in the environment. There's nothing worse than having the most beautiful bride in a beautiful dress, but it makes no sense for the setting in which they are getting married. So if you have all of the right ingredients, you are sure to have that classic timeless elegance, those photos that you will treasure forever. And it's my job to help guide a bride through that process. So I get to work with incredible designers like Mark and James and others in either creating something bespoke for my clients or helping them navigate the, you know, incredible selection that already exists, you know, in the bridal collections. So I really am a trusted ally in that process. Yeah.
You are, yes.
James and I can testify that Michaela's attention to detail is absolutely spellbinding. I mean, from A to Z, the patience that she has, and we could be there at 3 o'clock the morning, you know, before our show, which is 4 hours away, and she is still fine-tuning the most maniacal, specific little details in the most beautiful way. And what she does, what she's really amazing at, is she's, you know, the reason why I think we love to work together is she understands glamour, and she understands modern glamour, and she can add a beautiful dose of glamour without it ever looking forced. And I think that's why her touch in Bridal is even more important. You know, I really do.
Oh,
Thank you.
Michaela, are you blushing? I'm blushing.
I'm a blushing bride. Thank you. That is such a lovely compliment. I adore working with you, and that means a lot to hear. So thank you.
Well, on that note, I think that we touched some major topics today. And if there are any other tips or tricks that you had for brides of the moment, do you have any parting words from any of the three of you before we depart?
For James and I, most important, have fun.
Yes.
There's nothing that destroys James and I more after all the work at the end of the day and all the blood, sweat, and tears and thought and beauty that goes into this great day. The most important thing to James and I is that at the end, you know, it is what it is. And when that wedding starts, just have fun
and let go
and just enjoy the moment. That's the best advice we could give.
Love it.
I'm going to echo that too. I think that's amazing advice. And for everyone that's in the middle of postponing their wedding right now who might be listening, you know, you're just changing a date. The sentiment of getting married is what matters. That's still going to happen. It's still going to be amazing. Have fun. And yeah, just remember that love conquers all. So time to celebrate.
Love endures. Love is not canceled, even amid coronavirus. So
there you go.
Yeah. Thank you all so much again for joining today. Obviously, this Bridal Masterclass has been an amazing opportunity. It's been an honor for me to interview you and such amazing names in this room. Again, please tune in to future Glam Hive Summit opportunities, and be sure to follow Michaela and Bajli Mishka, Mark and James on Instagram. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.